Hello. Hi, babe. I am actually recording a podcast with Sarah right now. That's okay. I love you. Bye.
You're on the party line with Sarah and Christy. This is I'm on the Phone podcast, where we're healing out loud, sharing culty stories, and laughing, and sometimes crying, at the mess along the way. So grab a coffee, a bestie, settle in, and let's talk. All right. So, since I probably kind of traumatized you last week, are you still recovering from that last episode? Because I kind of am.
Yeah. It just some of it just keeps playing over and over in my head. Like some of the things that he said. And then, um, yeah, I'm definitely still recovering and a little, it took me a couple of days to just sort of get my mind on other things, from just having to sit and listen. And we did not even hear half of the sermon, did we? I
Oh
mean,
my goodness. I know.
crazy.
Yeah, because I've still been studying with it, and then I feel like a little bit of a masochist because I keep going back and listening to other sermons of his, and some of the things that we brought up are that we said, oh, why didn't he say this? Because they preach about that, like he literally does in some other sermons that I would like to go over later. And this one is just so tame comparatively.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
So it's definitely been sticking in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so glad that I never sat directly under his preaching. I have some friends who have, and they're in some intense recovery.
Mm-hmm.
That I feel like makes mine look pretty tame. It's just this type of thinking, this type of preaching is clearly so traumatizing and harmful. Especially when, in the 80s, right? That's when that sermon was recorded. That was when my parents were young, young parents, like in their early 20s.
Yeah.
And of course, like our peers, that's their parents similar age as well. So we're not talking, this influence is still so present, even though he's dead and gone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I just wondered what Tyler Henry would get from him.
Oh my goodness. Can you imagine?
But whatever, squirrel.
Well, his teaching from even back then, and I know it doesn't seem that far away because we were born then.
Yeah, we were toddlers.
It was still it's still very present because, for one thing, I know in some of these schools, some of the schools that we talk about and that you and I attended in college, they're young preachers, the ones that are getting ready to graduate into whatever. This is part of what they study is these old sermons.
Yeah.
And they're encouraged to do so. And so they are building a foundation on what these older preachers have said, even though they're dead and gone, some of them, they're building a foundation off of that. And it's just breeding a whole new generation of toxic men.
Yeah, because the beliefs are the same.
Yeah.
They may say it a little nicer, a little, but the core beliefs are still the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think these days you get in, you may get more who will say some stuff like this. I think there might be a little bit more politically correct language, but they can still get around it. So the language becomes more passive aggressive rather than just full on aggressive like that was.
Yeah.
But that was still also wrapped in that whole spiritual package of, I'm saying this because the Lord said I had to, and this is for your good.
Yeah. And the thing, and when you play the God card, you cannot, I mean, you can, but it really shuts the door on you arguing with it, because then it looks like you're going against God.
Yeah, it shuts down any ability to ask questions, to even pick it apart like we did.
Yeah.
That is highly frowned upon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really shuts you down cognitively. And obviously, it's that kind of preaching impacts your nervous system. So it's going to send you into like your sympathetic, your fight or flight nervous system pretty much right away. And like for us, even listening to that, like, no joke, we have to sit here and still take a deep breath to like even work through what is being said.
Yeah. And back in the day, we were in it. I don't know how it affected you. I know how it affected me. If those kinds of feelings, if my nervous system was attacked and those kinds of feelings rose, I was under conviction. There was something wrong in my life, and I was bucking against the, what God really wanted and out of me, and I was wrong. And now the way that it affects me is I just get angry, and I'm just, because it's not true. I don't believe that most of what is preached behind the pulpit, God really wants to be said. I don't believe it.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it makes me think, especially, okay, obviously grown adults should have a better cognitive ability to process what's being said and to question it. I did not see that happen, to be honest. In my own personal experience, it was just whatever they said was like, yeah, that's right, amen. And you can hear, I don't know, in the background, these people like amen in them. And it was interesting because I think it was on this sermon. I know for sure it's on some others, but when he really gets on to stuff that involves women and men's control of them, let me tell you, the amen crowd goes wild, and and you can hear that it's men. And I'm like, obviously you're going to amen that, because literally you are just feeding your own little ego right there and your own power and control monster, where you get to lord it over the person you're supposed to love the most.
Right. Right.
It's so twisted.
Yeah.
It's mind-boggling, and just, it makes me angry. It makes me sad for those women and children. It actually makes me sad for those men too. And I know we talk a lot about women and how it affects them, but I'm also watching the men who are coming out of this, like the very few, and it is few because it's a system that really puts you at the top of the food chain. So why would you not want to be there?
Right.
But the men who have come out of this, that I personally observe, it is sometimes just as hard. I don't want to say it's harder. It's just extremely hard in a different way.
Yeah.
I think for women coming out of it, some of our issues are more obvious because we're like clearly the oppressed one in the dynamic. Like we're the ones who don't have power or control, or who aren't allowed any.
Yeah.
But then you see, when I see the men who are coming out of this, I'm so proud of them.
Right.
So proud of them. It is a difficult mindset shift.
Right.
And you have one that has to basically kind of step down off of their ego and become an actually secure person. And then you have a female who, again, who has to step up into a security.
Right.
It's the same but different, I guess. Like they both have to step into a secure identity of self.
Yes. Yes.
And
My goodness, I
it's
totally agree.
very
It's an identity.
difficult. Yes, it's an identity issue. And when you're both, I mean, across the board, everyone is taught that they are just worms and worthy of death and don't deserve anything, yada, 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 which I think makes no sense
Absolutely none.
with what it's like,
And it contradicts itself when there's
yeah,
actually does stand up and talk about God's love and how important we are. And then
like
you're
God
like,
loved you
wait,
so much,
but
right?
we're not worthy of anything, you know?
Yeah, God loved you so much that his only son came to die for you. But at the same time, how dare you exist?
At the same time, yeah, exactly. He's got all of these rules you have to follow and all of these things you have to do in order to make it to heaven. And yeah, it
Well, and
doesn't.
they come up with most of them. So
Absolutely. Oh my word. They're completely made up to fit their agenda. And it's
yeah,
different per church. And per
yes, like they can't stick with like the basic because the basics are the ones that, again, they're the ones that doesn't matter when you were born. It doesn't matter where you live. They apply. Like loving people, caring for people to the same degree that you care about yourself and love yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
People do not understand that. Most of the people I know have such a horrible relationship with themselves.
Yes.
And that's something that you and I are still working on. But when you're taught that you're worthless and deserve hell for
Right.
eternity,
Right.
for the simple fact that you were born.
Yeah.
Which was not your choice.
Exactly. Like
It doesn't make sense. And also, God loved you so much that he had to kill himself so that he could forgive you, even though he is supposedly omnipotent, all powerful, all present, all things.
mhm.
But he couldn't forgive you unless he killed himself. Like make that make sense.
Yeah, it does. It can very easily send the kind of message that you don't even want to teach your kids for sure.
Well, I mean, but this is the message that we were taught. This is the theology and doctrine that, like, both of us were taught. The whole, like, yeah,
It's wrong doctrine.
it is wrong. And the way that it's presented, if it were a human,
Mhm.
we would want them to be in jail. Because if you met a man who says, I love you with all my heart. I love you so, so, so much. I made all this stuff for you.
I would die for you.
And I died for you. And I even came back.
Mhm.
But if you don't love me like I say you should love me,
Mhm.
then you're going to burn forever.
That's not funny, but
but that's the thing.
Sorry.
If that were any man on this earth, that's a cult leader. That's definitely an abusive husband or partner.
it's abuse and on so many different levels.
It's such a deeply narcissistic viewpoint.
Mhm. And this is the way Christ was presented to us.
Yeah.
Therefore, we look for it in our husbands and in our men.
Can we imagine why so many of these men in these groups are so abusive?
Right.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's not because that's their natural way of being. They were
No.
conditioned to do it.
Well, when a pastor treats his church better than he treats his own family, that's the turnaround. That's what I experienced. And so it's like, you kind of wake up and think, okay, wait just a minute. There's something wrong here. Like, we're supposed to come first. And,
Right.
but yet,
There's even a scripture about that. Like,
yeah.
well, yeah. Well, it's basically, if you can't keep your children in check or in line, then you shouldn't be in the ministry.
Oh,
Which
yeah.
nobody follows that one. So I've heard of a couple,
But the
but
people who are trying to then end up abusing their kids because, you know, if they're it has to be you have to have control of your kids, right? So they can't act out and they can't scream in church and they can't cry and they can't go to the nursery if they're bored in church and they're a toddler because that's teaching them that I mean, it's just so dumb. I mean, I went
yes.
to the nursery just as much for myself as I did for my children.
Oh, when I was at
For
church and
sure.
I was going to the nursery, I was definitely going there because I couldn't hardly stand to hear the voice of my pastor because he was such a hypocrite.
Yes.
I was definitely like, well, I can say I went to church today.
Yeah. Oh, and that's about it. If you show your face in church, you're especially on a regular basis.
Uh-huh.
I know we're getting off a topic. Okay. I did hear something. I was watching a movie earlier, and I'm actually on a series right now that's kind of intriguing, but it's not English.
Oh,
It's a Russian movie,
okay.
and so I'm doing the audio because I can't sit there and read subtitles when I'm doing dishes, So I'm just listening to the audio. But this mother is arguing with her husband. This mother they've got a little girl who's 7, and she's arguing with her husband because a stranger has come to their door wanting to stay, like needing a place to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And she's arguing with him, saying, this person is not coming into our house. He is not going to stay at our house. I don't know who he is. And my 7-year-old daughter is here. Why would I let him in? He could be a dangerous criminal.
Yeah.
And her husband said to her, what kind of Christians would we be if we did not help this person? And she said, I don't know what kind of Christians we'd be, but I know what kind of a mother I'd be, or I know what kind of a mother I am.
Yeah.
And I thought, that is good for her. I mean, I know it's just a movie, but it resonated with me because that is it. Like, you can't use your family is first. Forget the people who are I mean, not forget them, but if it is going to potentially harm your children physically, emotionally, whatever, that is your first priority, is to protect them, right?
Right.
So, and that is just not the way they teach
Right.
in the CHM. It's just not the way they do it. Anyway, just that little tidbit for you. So moms, buck up. Protect your kids. Even from preachers.
Especially from preachers.
Kidding.
Sorry, but that's just a statistic. I can't even say that word. That's a statistic.
Yeah.
Yes. I can't talk today. Statistically speaking, white evangelical men, this is like data.
Yes. And that is, oh man, that says a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Well, you can figure that out on your own why that would be. But I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah. So thinking back, like what about that sermon we dissected? What about it hit the hardest?
Okay, so this might sound really stupid. Coming from being a pastor's wife, I know that was like sort of one of the reasons we listened to it last week, but coming from being a pastor's wife and always feeling like I was judged in every time I went to church, did I look the part? Did I act the part? Did I say the right thing? Did I pay attention to all of the people instead of just a few? All of these things, being under scrutiny, feeling under scrutiny all the time. that resonated with me when he judged her as soon as he saw her,
Yeah.
and also sexualized her
Yeah.
pretty much as soon as he saw her. Um, and there was nothing said about the pastor, nothing. And it just, the reason why she was pointed out is because she tried to stand up for herself.
Yeah.
And, a man looks at that as disrespect and looks at that as she doesn't care about my emotional. They become the victims then if a woman stands up against them. They are victimized. They are being attacked when she was mild in comparison to what I would have felt like I should do or I could do. Him saying that she was short and long in all the wrong places.
Yeah.
Oh, that made my blood boil. That one statement right there. And then the
Yes.
fact that there was like a ripple laughter throughout the congregation when he said it.
Because everyone knew what that meant.
Absolutely. And it was sexual. There was absolutely nothing funny about it unless it was meant as a sexual, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I mean, when he started in on her, he hit the ground running.
Mhm.
I don't know how they got this pastor and his wife, and I don't think he was actually questioning the pastor. He was like, how did they get this woman? Because her hair was too short, her sleeves were too short, her skirt was too short, and her tongue was too long.
Yep.
She was long and short in all the wrong places.
Yep.
Like, that's immediate, like, just boom, boom, boom. He doesn't even take a breath hardly, if at all.
Yeah.
When he starts in on her. And so it's immediate humiliation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people's nervous systems are already on high alert. I think people know when things are wrong. I think that their body knows when things are wrong and unsafe.
Absolutely.
Even if they are not aware, their mind still is existing in cognitive dissonance. They know when things are safe and unsafe, whether it's consciously or subconsciously.
Right.
And so, as we have been editing, or as I've been editing these videos, I have noticed how much I laugh. And it's because I'm uncomfortable, like I'm nervous sometimes about what we're talking about.
Yes.
And so that's actually a female thing, especially like when men are attacking women, like even verbally, oftentimes we'll smile or laugh to ease the tension and to bring down that, or it feels like we're bringing down the threat level.
Right.
And so I think women would laugh because of that reason.
Yeah.
Men may laugh partially, but also I have little confidence in the men in these groups, in these cults. I have very, very, very little confidence in them.
Yeah.
And
Same.
I do think that they're laughing because they are also sexualizing and they also are the predator.
Yeah.
Because they would look at the women the same way.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a mix of why the people are laughing. And I would say primarily the men would laugh because they do think it's funny to do that to a woman.
Yeah.
To call them out like that. And I do think that women laugh because of a lot of cognitive dissonance and sensing a threat level. And if you don't laugh, how are you going to be viewed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a million things go through your mind.
Because if you just sit there and
things. Yeah, then you have got something.
Well, then you've got something up your craw and the spirit is working on you. Then you're under conviction.
Yeah.
Because you didn't respond how you were supposed to.
You must be going through, something spiritual in order to, you're judged. You're judged from about everything. You're looked to.
Yeah.
It's suffocating to be under that kind of even in the congregation, like just sitting in the congregation with bunches of people. You're judged by
Oh,
your
absolutely.
actions and
Absolutely.
whether or not you're putting your arm around your wife, whether or not you're holding your husband's hand. I mean, all of it, the way you're treating your children, the way you're disciplining them. Are you disciplining them at all? Are you letting them color? Are you letting them play a game on their phone? I mean, it is like,
You're letting them have a snack.
oh my
Is the
goodness.
snack making a mess?
I remember being berated by an older woman for always bringing something to eat for my children in church.
Uh-huh.
And what she didn't know is that my kids didn't have, we just don't know what's going on with people.
Right.
Therefore, we have absolutely no right to judge them about much of anything. The only thing, I mean, I'm still trying to recover from it, from looking and judging all the time. I am. I'm doing a lot better than I used to, but I'm still trying to recover from, or how do you say that? Get out of doing that to people. Because
it's one of the most
in my head.
difficult mindset shifts to make from that hypercritical, especially when especially at our age, when that's all you've ever known.
Right.
And not only have you done it, but you've been on the receiving end of it. So it actually makes you like do it almost defensively.
Well, I remember saying something about somebody the other day, and it was someone I saw in Walmart, maybe, I'm not sure. And it wasn't nice. Like I was just, it felt like that I was just doing something, like saying something just to say something, like I was upset about something. I can't remember. Yeah. And my 14-year-old daughter was just like, oh, well, that might just be the way that she does, or the way that she, and it just like, light bulb, she gets it.
Yeah.
I am passing judgment on a person I don't have a clue. And that person wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just not what I would do. And therefore I was passing harsh judgment on her based on her appearance and something that she was doing. And it took my 14-year-old daughter to remind me that that is not the way I'm raising my children right now.
Yeah.
And
yes, I know this has been something that I have been working on. Oh, goodness. Like actively working on it since probably around 2006, because it was just one of those things that always stood out to me, like in the observation aspect growing up. That was very much a part of my world. I didn't like it, but also I liked it. I mean, again, people do it because they're insecure and it makes you feel better, right? Yeah. There's a reason why people do it and keep doing it. Right. So the church that my husband and I first attended, it was a Wesleyan church, even though the pastor and them were very much CHM. And one of the things that I thought was so cool about it was the fact that not everyone looked like a CHMer. Like they weren't all bun ladies and skirt ladies. There was a small amount of variety. And so I remember even back then, like not wanting to be that person who just judged people based on their appearance. Like, because I mean, obviously I had been on the receiving end of that as well. Yeah. And I know how it feels to be judged for stuff that you are not doing. I know how it feels to be gossiped about. I mean, I deeply understand what it feels to be like on the receiving end.
Right.
And so I really wanted to not be that way.
Right.
And so I did begin, and I also was, I think, more open-minded than pretty much most of the people that I grew up with or around. Like, I didn't think that cutting your hair was wrong. I obviously didn't think short sleeves were wrong. I wore them all the time. I didn't think that flip-flops were bad. I didn't think that pants were necessarily wrong. And so I had like a little bit of a more open mind going into it. But the people I know who are very close-minded about like those kinds of things, there's been a few who have left,
Yeah.
but not many.
Right.
In fact, the people I know who are the most dogmatic about those are still very entrenched.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was just something I always tried not to be. But it's even at my age, it is still really difficult.
Yeah.
To not do that. And I've had, excuse me, my daughter has called me out on occasion. And I told her, I was like, hey, if you notice that I'm being that way, please tell me so that I recognize what I'm doing. Because sometimes it's without thought because it's that deeply ingrained.
Yeah.
And my goal is to not be like that. And so it just takes a lot of very intentional work. And like some real humble pie.
Oh, no kidding. Well, and you and I are talking just like regular, you know. I've noticed that we're not down on other people, except for the ones who've done us wrong.
Well,
and are still doing us wrong.
Yeah.
It isn't on their actual person. It is
it's more
actions.
Actions. And it's not like in a slanderous way. It's like a therapy.
It's
sometimes
not about
like best friends are sometimes it's the only therapy you have access to. But like to be able to come to someone and say, I am hurting and this is why, and I don't know what to do. I just need to tell someone.
Right.
And sometimes it's just that. And sometimes, we can offer potential solutions.
Yeah.
But there are just so many times where the only reprieve, and especially like in the moment, like I said last time, keep your therapist on speed dial, but the only one I can truly keep on speed dial is you.
Exactly. But like you said, it's like, it's therapy. We help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're not sitting there saying, oh, I hate this person. I hate this person. They're awful.
Not
they're
at
awful.
all.
I mean, sometimes they are awful. Like their actions are awful.
Right.
And like, you can't keep that kind of stuff in. And so I feel like a lot of people have mistaken like a person who is hurting talking to someone who is there to help them, help them process it, and to sit there with them in their pain.
Right.
And then if you're real friends, like that whole one of the verses that I agree with is about friends or being the iron that sharpens iron. Like you and I have both called each other out on behavior.
Right. Yeah.
And also, like, if I hurt you, you are allowed to tell me that, and vice versa. And we will call each other out on behavior if we see something. And it's never hateful, but it's like, hey, I noticed this, or hey, that hurt me. And the craziest thing is, like, it's not hard to repair that.
It really isn't. Especially if you genuinely care about that person and the relationship, you like building on the relationship as opposed to, I don't know. You and I waited 40 plus years for each other. So it's like, I feel like that my relationship with you and my relationship with kids is like the actual first healthy relationship I've ever had. And it really isn't as hard as I thought it would be. I mean, we say relationships are hard. Well, yeah, they're hard if one of them is trying to pull and
One of them's always trying to hurt you.
yeah, and they're not giving as much as, I mean,
Well, if it's not mutually respectful and mutually loving, like
right.
if that's not there, if it's always ever in a power and control dynamic,
Yeah.
if that is the relationship, is how can I control you and how can I maintain power over you and what you do?
Yeah. The
That's an
power
abusive
struggle.
relationship, period.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Like
And
the only time that that's appropriate is when, and even then it's like it has boundaries like in place, is like if if you're at a job, you have a chain of command,
yeah,
but even the chain of command has rules.
they've got boundaries.
Yeah.
They don't have access to you fully.
No.
No human ever should have access to another human 100%
Yeah.
time and 100%. I mean, every human being
And
has a right to state their boundaries.
and they should always be respected.
Yeah, even children to their parents. And that's a hard one for a lot of people to accept.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
hard one. Husbands and wives is one thing, like a wife's giving boundaries to her husband and trying, or a husband giving boundaries to his wife. But when it comes to kids, kids have no rights whatsoever
Right.
in a lot of families, and it just boggles my mind the way that they are teaching that you're just supposed to let somebody have access to you at all times. I mean, that's the
And
way
you're
we grew up.
Yeah. And you just obey without thought or question.
Yeah, especially if it's an older person.
Oh, yeah.
But those are the ones that hurt the most. Like,
Yeah. And
Yeah.
they just think you not to have critical thought whatsoever.
hmm I just actually gave my own little sermon to my kids last night about this. My three girls.
Oh.
I was just like, no one has a right to your information. Just
Right.
bottom line. Nobody has to know how old you are. Nobody has to know what you do after school. Somebody asks you that question, you have every right to tell them it is none of your business. Kindly,
Yeah.
have every right to say that to them.
And be like, I don't share that information, or I don't want to share that information.
And I told them, I said, use me as an excuse if you want to. My mom doesn't
Yeah.
want me to share that information with you because I 100% back you up. If you don't want to share that information,
Then I don't want you to.
I don't want you to. Absolutely. It is no one else's business. And I said, and even if it's a teacher asking you a question that has nothing to do with school, you don't have to answer that question. And if they have
Yeah.
a problem with that, they can come and talk to me about it.
Right.
It is just like at young age, you have to teach your children that they have a backbone and that they can speak up for themselves.
Yeah. They start teaching that you do not have autonomy very, very early.
Oh, yeah.
Very early. Like with the whole like forcing toddlers who are uncomfortable to give hugs, etc.
Yes. Yes.
Like that's a big one. And forcing them to share when they do not cognitively understand the concept of sharing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot there. I
yeah.
have completely changed my parenting since the season,
Uh-huh.
and it has actually served us very well. I'm convinced that it's not just control that parents spank their children and demand that they act a certain way or do a certain thing. It is laziness. The parent is lazy because for them to sit with their child through a hard time and to teach them through that hard time and to help them regulate emotions that are really difficult and not just force them to act a certain way or force them to start crying or force them to do a certain thing in order to get something, all of this stuff, that is difficult work.
Very, very hard.
It is a whole lot easier to just spank the child and say, it's easier for the parent to just spank the child and say, you're not going to do this. You're not going to act this way. You're not going to, than to sit and help them learn how to regulate that emotion.
Well, they would have to set the example of being regulated, and they are not capable.
That's exactly
They are not either not they're not capable, and the willingness to examine that
Mhm.
is unfortunately not high that I observed.
No. I mean, you see people all the time throwing 40 and 50-year-old fits, yet they would spank their child for throwing a 2 or 3-year-old
For
fit,
much less.
a much less. Um, and so, yeah, it's that communication that, I mean, I cry in front of my children. If I cry in front of my children, it's very few and far between, and it scares them. And so when they come up to me and say, "Are you okay?" Yes, I am okay. I'm going to be okay. I just have to cry right now. And
Yeah.
when I realized that was the only thing I needed to tell them, it helped them to move on and go play. Mom's going to be okay. I don't need to sit with her.
Mm-hmm.
You were the one who told me one of my kids. Yeah, I know you were the one who told me because I remember it very, very well.
Okay.
That one of my kids felt responsible for my emotions.
Oh.
And since then, I have tried my hardest not only to act, but to verbally let her know that she is not responsible for my emotions. And that means not talking to her like an adult a lot of the time. I mean, she's 14. Um,
It can be difficult when you have really smart 14-year-olds and 15-year-olds.
yeah,
It's really difficult to
like
draw that line.
they are very, very smart. Like they're in
They're
their head,
smart.
like, but they are not. They are still kids, and
Yes.
there's so much that you have to protect still for them. And
Well, and it's just not, it's enmeshment when you start making them, like, it's one thing if you and I are telling each other those things, like,
yeah,
because we're in our 40s,
right.
our
And
brains are developed.
yeah,
We've done a decent amount of therapy, like, and we have enough of an understanding of what's happening. Whereas, like, for them, that's like extremely emotionally dysregulating to feel like they have that much power over their parent.
yeah, yeah, and they carry it.
It's such a heavy load.
In they don't even know. I mean, obviously they don't know they're carrying it. But I really believe that when you do that to a child, and I've seen it in my kids, sometimes it's like the next day, sometimes it's a week of them just carrying this information.
Yeah.
And it starts to wear on their brains. And they start going downhill in ways that are so confusing, maybe to you. But then I think it doesn't manifest itself immediately after the information has been given. It usually takes some time for that to sort of fester in their mind. And I fully believe that is why sometimes my kids just have these downward spirals. Maybe a week or two after something's happened and they've learned something that is just sort of very traumatizing for them, And it can be very mild to you, but for a child who, is in a bubble, every child is in a bubble and they need to stay in that bubble, quite literally, until it gets bigger and bigger. And then it starts.
Yeah, the bubble grows with them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's.
Yeah, it's hard to not only reparent yourself with a blueprint you don't have, but then to try and also build that blueprint for them. And so it's not easy. It can be done. It's just really difficult, especially for us who are like on the in between, like we're the cycle breaker, like it's not what we're used to. But when they have kids, I'm so looking forward to them being able to start right from the beginning.
Oh,
And I don't actually think that parenting will be as hard because they're not having to fight their own nervous system. I mean, they may have to some, granted, because like my kids, we didn't get out of this until a lot of like the mostly formative years.
right.
But I can say the one thing that I've done that I would say I've done right is that I've always apologized and I've always owned my shit.
Yes.
That is not something I experienced.
No.
And that was like a huge thing for me as a new parent.
Yeah.
Was that I would apologize when I was wrong.
Yes. Yeah.
And I was wrong a lot.
Yeah.
And even like now seeing, because back then I do better, maybe a little, but I was still in that world and in that mindset of how you parent. And so I was still very much tuned in to what others thought of me, and some people more than others.
Yeah. Well, and that is sort of what lights a fire under you. I think sometimes when you're in that situation is people are looking at me somewhere, and I don't want them to do this in public, so therefore I have to get this nipped in the bud at home.
Yeah.
And so it's a people pleasing thing too. Like the
Oh,
way
yeah.
you're raising your kids is for the benefit of others, and it never works. I mean,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Whenever I would get an apology from an adult or parent or whatever when I was young, it was something that was an apology at the moment, but I got to the point where I knew it's going to happen again and again and again and again. And that's the difference in between my apologies when my kids were little and my apologies today. Is that I truly try not to do it again.
Yeah.
And if I do, my kids have every right to call me out on it.
Yeah.
And have.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I do think that we are doing the best thing for them now. In so many ways, I think parenting has gotten easier for me because there are not so many rules that I'm trying to keep.
Well, and part of that is from stepping away.
Yes.
You don't put yourself in that situation where people are constantly judging you.
Absolutely. Even though I'm a single parent now, it is easier than trying to work with someone whose rules I was constantly trying to follow for myself and never could be enough. And then trying to make sure that all the kids try to follow the rules and then never were enough.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. Like it's the whole where there's judgment before there's any understanding whatsoever. And in this case, and in many cases, it's even often in spite of having information and choosing to ignore those factors.
Right.
Because they do not match your personal expectations.
Right.
Oh. Which boils my blood.
Mm-hmm. What's so interesting is that if I clean up the downstairs and decorate it, which I have not done since we moved here, decorated, I mean, and get it looking nice, she will keep her room clean. It is a mental motivator.
Yeah.
And I really believe that parents do themselves a service and their kids when they figure out what motivates their kids, what helps them.
Yeah.
Because we're supposed to help and guide. We're not supposed to. Sometimes I don't have a clue why people have kids other than just to carry on their name, which is so dumb. You know.
Well, in our world where we came from, you have kids because that's how you make more cult members.
That is so true. Get that quiver full.
That's your opportunity to populate the world with more people who think just like you. And then if they don't, then you're a failure. But okay.
Good grief.
Anyways, I don't know how we got clear there.
I know. We can probably cut some of that out and just.
Yeah, I'll see what you want to include about. I never know exactly how much you want to include about your personal life.
I know. I don't know that I did. I don't know why I even told you that. I meant
Well,
to
and
say
I
that
can cut as much or a little as you want.
We could probably just go from the parenting thing and then just go to
Okay, that's
change the
fine.
subject.
So I mean, I guess I can reflect a little bit on what my thoughts were. Like, so as the person like bringing this sermon to you, and having had to like listen to every word many times,
Yeah.
like the stuff that really stuck with me. There's a couple different things, and definitely the treatment of that poor pastor's wife was abominable.
Yeah.
It was disgusting,
Yeah.
so revolting.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't understand how you can listen to a man talk about a woman that way. And this was a Christian lady.
Mm-hmm.
God forbid. What if this was like a visitor or like someone who wasn't part of your group?
Right.
I mean, then they would turn her into a project.
Right.
And I've seen that happen unsuccessfully because they try to pressure them and into this like cookie cutter mold of what you're supposed to look like. And then if you don't measure up just so, then they still ostracize you and treat you like crap.
Yep.
I mean, they're everyone that comes in. And it's always the women. They just hound you about convict, and they say it's a personal conviction. I'm like, well, if it's a personal conviction, then why the heck are you trying to get every freaking person in the church to do it?
Exactly. Yep.
Like your little handbooks, like those were all based on people's convictions,
Mm-hmm.
which we know I don't even think they exist, to be honest.
No.
But they turn women into these projects, and until the women look like they're supposed to, the men don't have to do hardly anything.
Mm-hmm.
Like they can. The biggest thing I've seen men struggle with, and these are big struggles, don't get me wrong, like smoking or alcoholism or stuff like that. But externally, there's not much they have to do, just wear pants year round. And I mean, fortunately for me, we didn't have much of the issues with the sleeve length too much. It was definitely there, but
yeah.
And honestly, it was no matter when I went shopping, it was at the forefront of your mind.
All the time.
Between necklines, sleeve length, skirt length.
Layers, even in the summer.
Oh my gosh, yes, the layers. Oh, I feel like I'm going to choke if I have anything up here these days.
I know.
But yeah, they would turn these women into these projects. And so that's what I saw him just humiliating her for. And the absolute hypocrisy throughout the sermon, the power control dynamics, like from the get-go, that was really crazy to me. And I actually missed one of these, but where he kept pulling in scriptures from like random places to like support his sermon, his ideas.
Yeah.
And I missed one straight out of the gate, by the way, when he said, like his text was from Daniel, and then he said the scripture asked, was it, what wilt thou do? What will thou do? Like when you're judged or whatever. But it was the question he asked after the text. Anyways,
No, I know which one, what area you're talking about. Yeah, I can't remember.
like, what wilt thou do when you stand before God? Maybe.
Yeah, when you stand at the judgment.
Whatever that question
He
was.
said something like, "Depart from me, I never knew you," or something like that.
No, it was what wilt thou do
Yeah.
when you stand before God? Something to that effect. But
Okay.
that question, he said, because he read the text and then he asked that question. He said the scripture asks, and then he states the question.
Hmm.
And I kept listening to that, and I was like, where? What is he talking about? Because I kept going back to the scripture he just read from, right? And he said that the text asked, or the scripture asks, what wilt thou do? Yada, yada. And I'm like, where is this? And I couldn't find it. Like, it's not in his text because he just said the text asks. And so I told my husband, he's like, well, Google it and just see if it's anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I looked it up, and it's a whole nother random verse from Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Like,
And they just took it and inserted it
kidding
right
me?
there. Yeah. There's several preachers that have done that, right? Like they just, that particular one, what will you do
Yeah.
for the judgment? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. And so to me, it was just like it was very confusing because he made it sound like it was in the passage he was reading from, and
Yeah.
it wasn't.
Yeah.
That bothers me because I'm like, if you have a passage, then you stick with that passage, make sure it's in context, and don't throw other stuff in here that's out of context just to beef up your ideas, right?
Right.
That drives me crazy. And I think that's the first time I've really listened to a sermon where I was just like really paying attention to what he was saying. Like, you can tell when it's scripture, especially when it's read from the KJV, which is what we grew up with.
Yeah.
And the way he would use that language himself to make him sound more spiritual. And I know it was like a big thing for
Saddest,
people of that generation to do.
Yeah, for sure.
And there is someone close to me that I hear do that, and it cracks me up at this point because there's nothing else I can do about it, and I'm just like,
I know.
what? And I thought I have somewhat to say unto thee.
Oh my word.
Like I'm oh no. But anyways, it was just amazing to me, the absolute power moves from the beginning. That, I think, to the average listener, when I said, oh, this is a power move, could have been like, what are you talking about? That's nah. But then, like, later when he actually does it,
Yeah.
very obviously, I'm just blown away by the actual self-righteousness
Oh.
of the entire thing.
Yeah. Yeah. He is he puts himself on the God level.
Oh, it's quite a pedestal he's got himself standing on. But then he also, like, he has like tons of false humility.
Oh my goodness. It's so plain to see too when a preacher has got false humility. Like
yeah.
so disgusting. Revolting.
Yes.
I've literally sat in a congregation and this was when I thought that I was just being so judgmental, thoughts that would go through my head that I would never say to anyone else, but they were going through my head. And the preacher would say something, I'd just be like, oh, please. Like in my head, I would just be like, you've got to be kidding. You could see straight through them. And what was so funny to me is when these young men from college were getting ready to graduate, and they would come to our church and act like they cared deeply about our salvation, Which, I mean, I'm sure they did to a point, but you could tell when they were just being theatrical. It was so
But they acted like they had the experience of 40 years under their belt.
well, they were just mimicking these old preachers that they had heard, and basically this is what they were supposed to do, to be accepted and to be looked at as hyper spiritual. And it was just anyway.
I remember in choir tour, there was a particular student who, especially at certain locations, would testify and turn it into a sermon and would use all that language and all that theatrical, like, posturing, and would literally work the crowd.
Yeah.
And get them shouting and screaming and,
yeah.
I'm sorry, but I do not believe that the Holy Spirit was there. Even though that's what they would claim. But I'm like, because I saw him do it.
Yeah.
Over and over. He would do the exact same thing and use like those kind of tactics. And he knew what to say. He knew what motivated them. Because and I would just stand there like, of course, I just have to plaster a smile on my face.
I know.
Or at least a pleasant expression.
It's like watching a politician at work.
Oh, he'd make a great one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think the biggest takeaway from me has just been the absolute. It's still hard to put into words.
Yeah.
But and I know that the word narcissist gets overused and people just say it, but I do mean it in the most clinical way, that I feel like those are the behaviors displayed.
Yes.
Very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And it just goes to show that when you are uneducated in relationships
mm-hmm.
and what is healthy, no matter how old you are,
mm-hmm.
that you are such a target to be this type of victim.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Such a target on your head to be taken advantage of in this way.
Right.
And when that's all you ever know, it's like when you're born into it. I mean, I almost feel like there's little hope of getting out.
Right.
Unless you're the black sheep of the family, and those are the ones who statistically are the ones who escape because they're literally forced out.
Yeah.
So, anyways, we did hear some feedback from some of our listeners, by the way.
Yay.
Yes.
We love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, so if you guys want to ever respond, you can email us at I'm on the phone podcast moms, all lowercase, at gmail.com. And we would love to hear more from you if you have thoughts. If you have any recommendations of a sermon you'd like us to do this with, by the way, she gave us permission to share this. So would you like to read her letter, Christy?
I will. Okay, so this is her. Hello, drinking my coffee while listening to this week's episode. My thoughts. I feel so bad for the women I know in the church I left that are in a continuous spiral of feeling like they are never enough and always on the edge of their seats in fear of what if they make it to heaven. Oh, I resonate with that. Mm-hmm. Both of them came to me asking how I can be so confident in where I stand and my view of God without being sanctified. I simply replied, I don't believe I need to be sanctified. As I explained, I believe in God changing you throughout this whole life and that we can't be perfect on this side of heaven. I know our view on that shook them, and even though we told a few we were thinking of leaving years ago, I was begged by both women to stay, especially the pastor's wife. I know I encouraged them and helped bring them joy, but I also know their husbands were not happy when we fellowshipped. I should not have let them be the reason we stayed, but I wanted so bad to help them. Okay, just this is the type this is the this first time I read this, okay? This person truly has a heart of God. If that's even a thing, this person has it. When my husband would teach, we noticed it was the Sundays where the pastor's wife and daughters weren't crying at the altar or testifying in tears how God convicted them. They would say how they like his expository teaching and how they left feeling encouraged and full of joy. Soon my husband wasn't asked as much to teach, or husbands would speak out about how that lesson convicted them. I am sure as a way to keep that fear-based focus. Oh my goodness. To be honest, my husband and I saw so many times our pastor or the other man would change his sermon and so I had a lesson prepared, but God just spoke to me. Yep. And we felt it was targeted at us and me, especially me, because I was given the nickname of the Big Mouth Baptist. What? And then she put LOL.
That's not funny.
No, it's not. The Big Mouth Baptist? Okay. Just. All right, I'll finish the letter. I am really upset right now, though. Okay. I only mentioned once my grandparents grew up in a Baptist church, but because I was one of only a few women, the others aren't there, who were outspoken, they joked about it. I have many times that the guys put me in my place. Okay, she's saying many times the guys put me in my place. With a frowny face, absolutely. This spiritual abuse we got has really destroyed my daughter, rightfully so. She is on the spectrum, and I hope she can one day heal from this. But I know it's a journey, and because she is highly sensitive, it has hurt her so deeply. People who have neurodivergent don't heal well from things like this. I enjoy sitting and chatting with you friends.
I want to cry right now.
I do too.
I also want to write it down.
Huh?
I also want to write it down.
No kidding. I am. So, the Big Mouth Baptist. Sarah, that is.
Degrading.
I'm literally speechless. She mentioned her grandparents one time being Baptist. Yeah. And that was very much, she doesn't talk about necessarily the ladies putting her in her place. She's talking about the men putting her in her place.
The guys.
And she was probably the only one standing up for herself.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that her daughter was or is neurodivergent and still having to deal with the spiritual abuse.
Yeah, she's still recovering. I don't think people understand, unless you have neurodivergence, people like this do not understand how devastating their words can be. I mean, I have children who are neurodivergent.
Yeah.
And two in particular who are much more sensitive to what people say,
Mhm.
much more sensitive.
Yeah.
And we have to be, I mean, I think you should be careful anyways how you talk to people. Period.
Sure. Yeah.
It can be difficult, like as a parent trying to correct them and lead by example.
Yeah.
That we don't speak in ways that could be mistaken.
Mhm.
But it is almost impossible sometimes because their nervous systems are so much more sensitive. So once they get triggered, you really can't say anything until they are back into a normative state where they can actually access their logic.
Right.
Because when they're triggered, they are not logicking whatsoever.
Right.
And they tend to remember these types of things for far longer.
Yeah.
And it takes far longer to process what it actually meant.
Mhm.
And and I would say in these cases, especially, I mean, just what little she has shared,
Mhm.
I can only imagine what these kids heard or experienced. I mean, like this, she said she's on a journey still.
Mhm. Mhm. I mean, she makes it like it was hard for them to leave.
Because she wanted to help.
Mm-hmm. And she was being begged by the women to stay.
The
So
woman and the
she
daughter. Yeah.
acknowledges the fact that she believes that she brought them joy.
Yeah.
Was that a selfish act on their part to want her to stay? Because she was bringing them joy, but they were not being fulfilled as a family to stay there? You know?
I don't think it's selfish on the act or on the part of the writer.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay.
Selfish on the part of the pastor's wife and the women that were, because obviously, I'm sorry, women have got intuition for other women.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of conflict between like her views, the writer's views, and the views of this pastor's wife and these ladies.
Yeah, but they still wanted her to stay. Like, what was the,
Okay, well, I mean, think about like how would how would you have approached this lady as a pastor's wife? Do you? I think you're a little different, to be honest. But I've seen it happen where people try to get them to stay, and it's what I've observed is they get them. They want them to stay because they want to change them.
yeah, they want them to stay because they feel like that is the best place they could possibly be.
Mm-hmm.
That they need to, it's okay. So it's sort of like when we were in our church and I would hear older saints of the church
Yeah.
say, well, they got light and they're not walking in it. So we have this idea that about this particular situation, this man just had been smoking ever since he was in his 20s and he was in his 60s.
Mm-hmm.
And he got saved but wouldn't quit smoking.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody just believed that he was going to hell because this is one thing he wouldn't give up. They believe he got light and he's not walking in it. So therefore he is backtracking. He's going backwards instead of forwards. And
Yeah.
this is what they tend to believe about people who do not come alongside them and adopt every rule and every life choice that they have. They must not quite be, in a good relationship enough with God
Yeah.
to be making it to heaven, I guess. And so, yeah, I believe they thought they could change them. What I would say now, if I ever did go to a church and I ever was met with this kind of a situation, is this church is not serving you. It isn't, this church is not helping you in any way.
Well, it's actively harming.
Actively harming. And the best thing you can do is release them. However, I don't know. She
Well,
knew
here's
what they were trying to do.
yeah. I think it
She saw through it.
she did.
Otherwise,
But I think what traps us is because we aren't aware of recognizing religious systems, especially, but systems or relationship dynamics, because like you're looking, like you come into it, you know, it's a church, so you have like a corporate system, but then you're also dealing with people on the individual level. So you have like a macro to micro situation.
right.
And we're not familiar enough, even in the micro, of what healthy relationships look like.
Yeah.
And that just expands to the macro level, to the big picture level.
Yeah.
And we don't know what to look for to say, oh, this is a red flag. And we don't have boundaries in place like, well, hey, if this boundary is crossed, I can't be here.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter how many nice people there are.
Right. Yeah.
Like in a system that robs you of autonomy.
Right. Yeah.
And it's so funny because they talk about free will all the time when all they do is try and take it away.
Absolutely.
I mean, consistently try to take it away.
And another part of that really stood out to me was it was considered a good thing for the girls, the younger girls or the women to be convicted, to cry, to be sorrowful about their attitude or their whatever it is that they were, you know. But when her husband tried to preach and do his uplifting and his encouragement,
Yeah.
they felt that too, but it was not, it was
Well,
not
okay.
the hell and damnation type sermon.
It actually gave people, his sermons actually gave people emotional stability.
Yeah.
Which, when you are emotionally stable, you are not as easily controlled.
That's exactly right.
And so keeping people emotionally destabilized is a fabulous and proven way to control you.
And that is the way that preaching is.
Yeah, like if you're not crying at the altar, if you're not constantly questioning yourself.
That is what they teach in the colleges that they go to.
Yeah.
It is there was one preacher that I heard saying that you should teach salvation every sermon. So what does that mean? Exactly. You have to constantly be pointing out to people that they're not saved in order to preach a salvation sermon. There's like, you should do it in every sermon.
Do you know what I heard?
What? Oh, there's no telling.
Oh, I know. One of the ones I heard was at our first church as a couple, a married couple. This guy said that, I think he kind of did, he believed that you should have a evangelistic service every Sunday morning. So like something that included the message of salvation for people who would be perhaps visiting or like new people, so that everyone could hear that. And I'm like, well, no one's freaking visiting that often anyways. You don't have that many people coming in.
Yeah.
And then the Sunday night services were for the Christians.
So y'all could just skip going Sunday.
I'm like, well, if that's what you believe, like, why are we coming here Sunday morning? We already know, we're already saved, right?
Exactly. The thing is that her husband's sermon, they should have a lot more of. Like,
that's what they probably needed.
Yeah, that should be the one that is on a regular basis all the time.
Yeah.
And then I mean, it just, oh,
It's so backwards and messed up and twisted.
and she's a very sweet lady. Seems like, and she hasn't lambasted one person in this letter.
No. No. She's very kind.
I mean, I totally would. If I was right, I would probably put some.
Sorry, we're in our anger era.
On behalf of me and Sarah, the person who wrote this letter, I am so desperately sorry that you went through this.
Yeah.
This is crap. And I mean, should not have happened. I don't think that that's all of her story by far. I know.
Well, like I said, she's written before and there's more, and I know we've talked about going over it, but this was just in response to the last episode. So I felt like it was good to share.
I want to encourage her to continue to be the Big Mouth Baptist. No, good grief.
Yes, turn that one around.
No kidding. No kidding.
Oh my goodness. Like this week, we're still coming down off the roller coaster of last week.
Yeah.
And resting a little bit. And you are allowed to do that, by the way. And these conversations really matter. So, like, thank you for responding in the email.
Yes.
It really is proof that we're not shouting into the void. And even I've had conversation with some friends who have listened and shared some of their experiences as well. That always dropped my jaw. So I find it good for my own self to do this kind of work.
Yes.
Because I like to have an answer for what I was told that I knew was wrong, that I didn't know why was wrong.
Right.
And I know you said something earlier this week when I asked you how it felt to go through that.
Yes, very satisfying to be able to respond instead of, because I can't listen to sermons anymore. But when I do listen to just the snippets that you played, it was nice to get my thoughts out of my head and actually be able to respond. And hopefully it helps somebody who's thinking on the same wavelength as you and I.
Right. I find that it's really healing to be able to do that because you finally have a voice.
Yes. Absolutely.
You're not just shut up in a crowd.
Right.
If you're listening and it brought something up for you, you're not overreacting. I'm sure some of us are still figuring out and remembering what it feels like, maybe for the first time, to have our own mind and to be able to speak up for ourselves.
Yeah, so that's today's episode. It's our little processing pit stop after a wild ride.
Yes.
We'll be doing another sermon breakdown next month, but for now, we just want to say thank you for listening, for sharing, the one who wrote in. We would love for a lot of y'all to write in and share. We love to hear from you. And for reminding us that these stories don't end where the sermons tried to. If you've got a story you'd like to share or something that episode stirred up, send it our way, please. We read every one. Promise you we do. And until next time, keep noticing, keep breathing, and keep reclaiming your own story.
Yes. That's all for today, folks.
Until next time, bye.
Bye-bye. You've been listening on the Party Line to I'm on the Phone podcast with Sarah and Christy. Join us again next week for more stories about our pre, post, and mid-culty life. Thanks for listening.